right. I hope you hear me. So if you do, please just send me a text, and we can start. I see. Okay. So Novak has asked a question about cortisol. It says cortisol is from sprints is bad, but sprinters subject. Okay. Well, if as you watch my videos, then you know that if you are doing everything right, if you perform 4 or 5 weight training sessions per week, you don't need to do any sprints because they're just another high intensity exercise which will contribute to higher production of cortisol, which you don't need. If you're a sprinter, that's fine, but you need to understand that they spend a lot of time in the gym, and they are also exposed to all kind of pads. So, well, I think I explained that in quite a few videos about when it comes down to cardio. There is another question again regarding cardio. Can I swim sometimes in a calm tempo? I like that, and it's relaxing about 30-40 minutes from time to time. Yes, you can. You can engage in swimming as long as it's not intense. I also like swimming, although I don't really have much opportunity to swim regularly. But as long as it's not too intense, it's okay. Yeah, hi guys. Hi to guys from Ireland, Melbourne, Chicago. Fantastic. This is amazing. The whole world is here tonight. This is really exciting. And let me see what else is there. Yeah, hi New Orleans. Nice to have you tonight. New York as well, Eastern New York. Also South Africa, thank you for being here. Well, the question about Terry Pastel, do I know him? I never met Terry Pastel, but I heard that he is doing high volume workouts again that came from Serge Nubrem. Most of these guys in France trained that way, and it was absolutely phenomenal bodybuilder. I think it was heavily underrated, but phenomenal body. Terry Pastel is exactly what bodybuilding should have been. At least this is my view. You know, muscular, lean, no lagging muscle groups, everything there. Small waist, fantastic abs, huge arms. Absolutely great bodybuilder. There is a question also. Everyone is now talking about training each body part 2-3 times per week and doing 2 to 3 sets for each body part, 4 to 8 reps. Well, I think I have answered these questions many times in many videos. If you want to listen to what everybody talks, give it a go, see what happens. But I'm very positive that not much is going to happen, because this is cutting these workouts in 2-3 times per week for the same body part is basically just performing a junk volume, because none of these sessions is going to be 100% with full intensity, meaning intensity in my terms, not intensity in muscle head terms. So absolutely wrong. And all these 4 to 8 reps is not enough. I advise 8 to 12 reps for upper body muscles and anything from 12 to 20 reps for quads. So I would advise you to watch my videos in which I explain very much in detail everything about it. So definitely no serious bodybuilder is doing this, and no serious bodybuilder has ever done this. So if you want to try, give it a go. Let us know what happens. But yeah, all I can say is good luck. There is the guy asking, I like doing rocking in the nature on the weekends. Do you think having weight vests on would be counterproductive? Yes, absolutely. You should not have anything extra. You don't need to make that activity super intense. Just enjoy nature, think, breathe through your nose. If you start breathing through your mouth, obviously you're doing too intense. So you're going to be rather pumping cortisol instead of lowering cortisol, and that will not help you produce enough nitric oxide as well. And I will be talking about it in the video on Wednesday when I advise the best low intensity, long duration exercise. I don't want to call it cardio because, as you know from my videos and my books, this is such a nonsense concept. There is no exercise that should be called cardio because everything is cardio. Even talking to you is cardio. And therefore, I only use different terminology. I call it long duration, low intensity. And the best that you can do is actually just walk. Go to the park, go to the forest or the mountains, wherever you go, walk, normal pace, nothing too fast, nothing too intense. And that way you will lower your cortisol and you will increase your nitric oxide, which I will explain is very, very important, why is important and how that mechanism works actually. And watch on Wednesdays so you will understand why you don't need to do anything extra intense if you do enough in the gym, 4 to 5 sessions as I recommend. The question, if I eat 1 meal a day, 10 eggs with cottage cheese and steak, I know it will keep me lean, but will I still make gains? Well, eating once a day is quite extreme way of eating. I don't eat once a day. I usually eat 2 to 3 times per day, and there are people who manage to do that. Yes, you can. In theory, you can increase your muscle mass and you will be lean because you will basically be fasting 24 hours, which is very good, but you need to be adapted to that type of, it's a very drastic approach, eating once a day. So you probably need to eat something like, let's say 2 pounds of meat, which will be around 180 to 200 grams of protein depending on the cuts, and also anywhere from 70, 80 to maybe 150, 200 grams of fat. It's quite a lot of food. Or you can eat 10 eggs, but this is only 60 grams of protein and cottage cheese. So you need to make sure that you eat enough protein. And it's very difficult, not impossible, but it's very difficult to put all this protein that you need in a day. I am anywhere from 250 to 300 grams of protein a day. And I find it difficult to, not difficult, but I find it challenging to put it in 2 meals. So sometimes in my days off, I try to eat twice a day. Most of the time, I eat 3 times per day. Sometimes I eat twice a day, but then I have a protein shake before or after a workout. As you know, if you watch my videos, I'm not very drastic about things, and I don't like these extremes, when people follow something religiously. And I'm a carnivore and I only eat meat and eggs and that's it. Well, I'm not like that. I eat whatever I want. I stick to the principles. I eat vegetables as well whenever I want. I can eat let's say just steak and put some cheese on the top, or just put few eggs on the top. Fine, I do that. But if I feel that I want to have some let's say salad and chicken and some cheese on the top, I will do that as well. And it works for me and it works for many of my clients. So there are people who can eat once a day. There are people who like to be very strict carnivores, and that's fine. I'm not objecting that, but I am advocating a completely free approach, which means that you need to listen to your body. You need to get everything that your body is trying to suggest, trying to actually um, tell you. These are hormones that decide when you're hungry, like ghrelin, for example, and then there are hormones which will make you feel full. They will cause satiety, like leptin, and you need to find what actually works for you. Everything I say, I always, when I do programs for my clients, I do this every day. I do dozens of programs, and I always say, use this as a guidance. I'm suggesting you, I'm giving you principles, and this is the way you should go. But it doesn't mean that you have to follow this to the letter, because you are an individual and you may feel, and people come back and say, this is great. Or they say, this is not enough for me, or this is too much for me. Or they say, well, I would like not to eat any vegetables because I have allergic reactions. Fine, we adapt, we continue, but principles are always there. So it's a guidance. So I would advise you not to take anything for granted. Whoever it is, whatever they say, maybe it works for them, but when people insist on their blind following, you are creating a kind of a cult or a sect, which I don't like. I will still like you to be free to decide, to be analytical, critical, to be open-minded, to use your logic, your reason, your mind, because at the end of the day, you are the owner of your life. And I'm here just to suggest you options, but you're the one who will pull the trigger then. Pozdrav iz Srbije. Hvala. Pozdrav vama svima. This is the message to the guys from Serbia. Somebody is asking tips for improving vascularity, please. Well, vascularity is mainly genetic. Some people are more vascular than others. I had clients who had veins on their face, basically had veins everywhere popping out, and also had clients who competed on shows and they didn't have veins everywhere, maybe here and there. I was also not very vascular when I competed, and I had fantastic career and results. And also had friends who were very vascular. So it's not necessarily that vascularity is something. Nobody is looking for vascularity if you compete in bodybuilding. They're looking for conditioning. There are people who are vascular but not very conditioned. Depends on many different reasons. And number one reason is that in the area where you are vascular, you have very little body fat or maybe nothing at all. But it doesn't mean that if your legs are vascular or maybe your arms are vascular, that you're going to have very sharp six-pack. You may not have six-pack. Serge Nubre, for example, or Arnold or Sergio Oliva, they were not very vascular. And they were, legends. So it's not necessarily something that you need to be worried about. Okay, let me see what else is there. Viewing from Sebring, Florida. Weather is fantastic. Thank you for that. Weather is beautiful here as well. A bit cold, but it was very sunny today. So, yeah, we also have a nice spell from time to time. Yeah, before I answer a few questions, let me just remind you guys that I would appreciate very much your super stickers and super chats because they support the channel. So feel free to show your appreciation as well, because this helps me obviously produce more videos, better videos more often, and obviously giving you more live chats. So yeah, feel free, and thank you for that. So the question is, I'm a postman that walks 6 days a week. I enjoy training upper body, but don't have much desire for legs. What is the minimum I can do for legs? I know they are important. So you're obviously doing a lot of walk, and that is taking a lot of calories from your body. Not necessarily that walk should interfere with the size of your legs, because your walk is not super intense. You don't necessarily walk on uphill or running or something like that. So I would just advise you to to follow the program and advice that I actually give to people. Train every muscle once a week. Train your legs in the days when you're not working. Maybe that would be the best advice. So when you have day off from work, do your legs then. And I wouldn't really bother about walking every day as a postman. So just stick to one training every muscle once a week, 4 to 5 times per week, depending again on your fitness level and on your energy levels, and focus on right exercises and high intensity as I advocate. All right. Thank you very much for your support, Seller 1423. I really appreciate that for your super chat. So, what is your opinion on thermogenic fat burning supplements in order to lose fat whilst trying to maintain muscle? Well, thermogenic supplements are mainly based on caffeine, unless you're using substances like, let's say, clenbuterol or ephedrine, which can help. But I don't think they're necessary. If you do everything else right, if you eat food which is extremely thermogenic, with high thermogenic effect, like enough protein, for example, you will be burning a lot of body fat without any need for any supplements, because they are all of them, they are going to be forcing your adrenals to produce more adrenaline, which may cause your adrenal glands to get exhausted. So it can backfire. I never took them when I competed. I'm not in big favor. I never take anything like pre-workouts or anything like that. And not just me, but imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't have any thermogenic supplements. So I would stay away from them, because long term they're not going to do you good. Have you ever tried fasting? Is it something that you recommend? Yes, I did. As I mentioned many times, I did everything that you can imagine regarding diet and training. Every type of diet, every type of training. I tried everything. It took me some time to finalize what works best for me, and then understand what works best for my clients and for general population, general public. And this is exactly what I'm talking about all the time. When it comes to fasting, again, I don't like to be drastic. I don't like to exaggerate. I don't like any extremes. And there are people who fast once a week, 24 hours, or maybe sometimes 2-3 days in a row for a month, for whatever reasons. Especially this is quite popular now because of the effect of autophagy. But you need to understand that autophagy doesn't only happen when you fast. Autophagy happens all the time. Autophagy happens always when your insulin is low. When you are exercising, your body is eating their own cells, always those ones which are old cells, degenerated, mutated, etc. And you don't necessarily need to fast for that. So if you keep fasting too often, you're going to start losing muscle. You're going to start feel weak. I personally eat around 8 or 9 in the evening, and then I eat again 12 o'clock next day. So I already have 16 hours. Sometimes in the days off, I go up to 20 hours without any food, from the last meal to the first meal of the next day. And for me, that is absolutely perfect. And I have no issues, no problems with that. But I would never go anything extreme, because fasting itself is not magical. Your lifestyle is magical. If you do things right every day, this is the best thing for you that you can do. Not just to fast. You eat rubbish, for example, the whole week, and then you fast one day just because you need to clean your body or anything like that. This This is simply not the way to do. And this is where this extreme views, these cults of only meat and eggs, fasting every week, 1 day, 24 hours, every month, 3 days in a row. I mean, it just doesn't work. Arnold never did it. Serge Nubret never did it. Look what they have achieved. Again, these rules are obeyed by people who never listen to their own bodies. You need to be in tune with your own bodies. You need to understand, to feel. When you are hungry, when the body says to you, I'm hungry, give me food, this is when you should eat. Is that going to be 10 hours after your last meal? 12, 16, 24? I don't know. Nobody knows. Only you know. And when your body is asking you for food, this is when you should eat. When your body doesn't ask you for food, this is when you should not eat. So all these absolutely nonsensical forcing systems that say to you, you need to eat this much, that much, this is just simply ridiculous. It's very unhealthy as well. And it's not going to do anything to you. The same thing as is ridiculous if somebody says to you, oh, you need to fast every week once 24 hours. There are a lot of cowboys out there, some MDs, medical doctors. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a doctor. I have a PhD in a different discipline, which teaches you how to think, teaches you wisdom. And then everything you approach is going to be very easy for you to understand, not to mention nutrition and bodybuilding. This is easy. Science is very easy. There is nothing complicated in science. You just need to understand the facts, and that's it. Science is not art. Science is not philosophy. Art and philosophy require different mind, require creativity, require imagination, require wisdom. There is nothing in science that requires wisdom, imagination, and creativity. So once somebody sits on the top of the pyramid, it's very easy to see everything at the bottom. And this is my story. So there are a lot of so-called MDs who are advising you, again, just for the sake of popularity, with some drastic approaches, with some pseudo-scientific experiments. They're popping out like mushrooms every day all around the world, which are absolute nonsense, because simply they're done on very few individuals, 10, 20, 50, 100 individuals for, let's say, 4, 6, 12 weeks. And this is not enough to come to a conclusion that you have discovered a universal law that will work for everyone, meaning 8 billion people. I never bought that. I will never buy that nonsense. But be careful who you're listening to, and be careful not to get into the trap of, signing up yourself to another another sect or another cult of vegans or meat eaters only or something similar. You are a free human being. You're gifted with mind and with feelings and with passions, and you should be following that. This is what everybody can do. So this is what I'm trying to encourage everybody to start thinking with their own heads. Here, I'm your vehicle. I'm just giving you directions, guidance, and suggesting what is the best thing for you to do. And I always say, try. People come back to me and say, oh, what about Mike Menzer? Mike Menzer says everything opposite you. Fantastic. I train like Mike Menzer, for like he was advocating. Sorry, not like he never did heavy duty anyway. I tried, didn't work for me. Other people tried, didn't work for them. It didn't work for anybody. It didn't even work for Dorian Yates. But people like to belong to the cult. So be careful. Be analytical, critical. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to give you information that will help you to enrich your knowledge. Every time I promote my eBooks, I have published 11 eBooks. You can see them on my website. I always say, if you want to expand your knowledge and widen your horizons, I never said you have to follow my advice, because nothing is written in stone. I'm not Moses. I'm not Muhammad or Jesus. I'm just telling you what I've done, what works for me, what worked for over 3,500 clients that I have personally trained. And it's entirely up to you to do it or not to do it. You are in charge. And I always want you to be in charge. Okay. Thank you very much again for your kind support. Again, Seller1423. I don't know your name. It would be nice to know your name as well. Yeah. Let me see what else is there. Hi Nash, as a 50 years old male, uh, male, yeah, how much muscle can I reasonably put in 1 year? Similarly, how much fat can I reasonably lose in a year? All right, this is a typical type of questions that I don't like, because what works here is simply juggling with digits with numbers, and you need to understand that numbers and digits are not how human body works. Your physiology is not related to any type of numbers, any type of digits. You need to understand that you can put as much muscle as it's possible, as your genetics allow, as your insulin sensitivity allows. You can put as much muscle as your testosterone production, if you're natural, allows, and also growth hormone, and also other hormones like IGF-1, IGF-2, etc. So this is all within genetic frame of your endowment, of your natural aptitudes. Nobody can tell you how much muscles can. If I say, oh, you can put 5 kgs of muscle, as people say, oh, you can put 1 pound a month or something. Nonsense. Nobody knows that. All that you can do is to try to train properly, to have your training system structured properly, to have best exercises for yourself selected, to know exactly how many sets you do for each exercise, how many sets you do for each muscle group, how many reps you should do. And then you should also eat in accordance with your training regimen. If this is not done well or right, you will make no change. You will be laboring, you will put lots of effort, but changes will not happen. Nobody can tell you how much, but I have clients who have put 20, 30 pounds of muscle in a year, and also lost maybe 40, 50 pounds of body fat in 1 year. My son, Milos, I had a video, you can watch that video. He went, when he was 16, 17, he went from 70 to 80 kgs in 1 year. And he is natural all his life. When he was 16, 17, he just started training, but I structured the workout system for him, explained to him selection of exercises, principles, and he followed that. He ate correctly, and he put 10 kgs of lean muscle in. He even get leaner. So nobody can tell you that. All that you can do is to try your best. And yeah, nothing is written in stone, as I said. There is an interesting question. Who has been the most influential person in your bodybuilding journey, and why? Well, usually the most influential people are people who happen to be in the beginning, who actually open the door to you, so you can finally start moving in the right direction. I came across many bodybuilders in my career. When I was in my 20s, I went to Paris. I met Serge Noubre himself, but it didn't really influence me. Later on, when I already changed a lot and started competing, I started understanding his principles. But in the beginning, he didn't really make an impact of me, because I didn't believe in what I've seen, right? I was, in a way, I belonged to that cult of heavy-duty training system and diet that Mike Mentzer promoted, which was 60-70% carbohydrates, 20% protein, and 10% fat. And I followed it religiously, and I ended up fat. I was a bit stronger. I grew. I was big, but I was fat. And that's nothing to do with bodybuilding. And then there was the guy who was an absolute legend in Yugoslavian bodybuilding. His name was Fikret Hodžić. And I went, and when I saw him first time in my life in that competition, that was 1984, I believe. He came, it was local competition somewhere in Macedonia. And I just couldn't believe that somebody can look like that. And he was like from different planet. There were a lot of bodybuilders who looked great, had six-pack. For me, that was amazing thing to see. Imagine somebody who has six-pack and quads split and big shoulders and small waist. And a lot of people had it. I was absolutely shocked when I saw that, and because I was nothing, far cry from that. And then he came. When he came out, he just looked like from a different galaxy. So I went there, and I after the show, and I said, "Look, I would like to introduce myself to you. I'm very much interested in bodybuilding, this and that, but I'll be very honored if I can invite you to be my guest and to train in my gym. So he accepted the offer. So he came with me and spent 1 week. So we trained together, and I cooked for him. I learned his diet and training and everything. And this is the guy actually who influenced me the most. And his training was high volume. He would do around 30 sets per muscle, anywhere 8 to 15, 20 sets, depending which muscle group, non-stop, literally no rest between the sets. And the whole session would be like 45, 50 minutes. It was like an engine, like absolutely a power engine, non-stop, set after set, muscles everywhere, bursting, veins popping out. And then his diet was predominantly protein, fat, zero carbs. He had vegetables, he had salads, eggs, a lot of eggs, fish, chicken, liver. And I started following that diet and tried to train like him as much as I could have. And this was the biggest change in my life. And I remember he actually pushed me into competition. Without him, probably I would never compete. He said, no, you're a big guy. You just need to lose some fat and you will be good. You can even win heavyweight. And from 112 kgs, I remember, it took me a year to come down to 82. On my first show, I was 82 on the stage. So I had to lose 30 kgs of body fat. This is disaster. I probably lost lots of muscle in the process as well, but I never allowed myself to get fat again. So carbs went down, protein went up, more fat. Training became like real bodybuilding workout, not a powerlifting, not few sets per muscle, but 20, 30 sets. You need to feed that muscle with blood. You need to create, that metabolic effect. You need to cause that important sarcoplasmic growth, which is the bodybuilding growth, not necessarily myofibrillar growth. This is where powerlifters are. They are big, they are strong, but they're also fat. So if you want to look like a powerlifter, then train like a powerlifter. But if you want to be a bodybuilder, that's a completely different story. I learned that hard way, but once I learned, I was absolutely done with the past. So yes, that guy was the most influential in my career. A question: how about low carb diet? Can I eat after training fats and protein, or just later? Well, when you finish your workout, you need to understand that you produce a lot of growth hormone after you finish your workout. So that growth hormone will be in your body up to an hour. And this is why most of the people, probably everyone, nobody is hungry after the workout, because this is the time when your liver needs to clear a lot of lactic acid. He is not really interested in producing enzymes to digest food. Also, that growth hormone, it likes the environment. This is why you produce growth hormone after the workout, because your insulin is very low. It drops down during the workout because you burn glycogen and blood sugar, and after the workout, your glucose is low and your insulin is low. And this is the perfect time from growth hormone to get released and starts rejuvenating, rebuilding tissues which were broken down during the workout. Now, if you eat anything immediately after workout, even having a protein shake, your insulin will go up, and that will obviously reduce production of growth hormone, because insulin and growth hormone, they are not compatible. This is why I, for example, usually eat 2 hours after the workout, because this is when I get hungry. My body says, now you're hungry, give me some food. And this is what I do. I don't religiously jump into protein shake immediately after the workout. When people say, oh, I saw you advocating protein shake after. Yes, but not immediately. Take an hour, wait for an hour, and then have a protein shake. Because even without carbohydrates, whey protein shake will raise is insulinogenic. It's going to raise your insulin. And that will obviously disturb production of growth hormones. You don't want to do that. It's absolute nonsense. So people who are doing that, they're shooting themselves in the leg. This is why they have to take exogenous growth hormone, because their natural growth hormone is always disrupted. They eat carbohydrates after the workout, they kill growth hormone. They eat carbohydrates before they go to bed. Insulin is high for hours, they kill growth hormone again. The end of the story is they have to what? To take extra growth hormone exogenously. Arnold, Serge Nubre, Sergio Oliva, they didn't take any growth hormone. They didn't have in those days. Look what happened to them. But they didn't just run an ad immediately after the workout. They would wait. That in numerous occasions, they would say, after the workout, they'll go to the beach, lay down, enjoy the sun, relax, and then after an hour or later, they will go and eat again. So basically, this is the story of eating after. Yes, you eat your protein and your fat, but wait an hour, 2 hours preferably, and then eat. When your body asks for it, when your body is ready to digest, when your nervous system enters that parasympathetic stage, this is when you need to eat, not when you are still in sympathetic environment, when your body is still full of adrenaline and not ready to digest food, because it's completely different metabolic environment after the workout. What are the Java 2037? Thank you very much for your support, for your super sticker. And the question was, what are the best exercises for chest and lats? So definitely the best exercise for chest is the one that can stimulate or actually break down most of the muscle fibers in your chest. That will be either flat or decline press. These two exercises actually, these exercises are actually the ones that stimulate most of your fast twitch muscle fibers in sternocostal major pectoralis. So sternocostal major pectoralis is anywhere from 80 to 85% of your major pectoralis muscle. Is made of two. One is that. The second one is called is under the collarbone and is 15 to 20%, or we call it as upper chest. So to stimulate the larger portion of your chest, which is sternocostal one, major pectoralis, you need to perform either flat press or decline press. You can do that. My advice is to do that with dumbbells, because you're going to have a better range of motion, and it's much safer to do that with dumbbells than with a barbell, both of them. When it comes to latissimus muscles, the best exercise, without any doubt, is pull-ups. So you lift yourself up as high as you can. That exercise will hit your latissimus muscles, and not just them, also other muscles on your back, more than any other exercise. If you cannot do that, then pull downs, wide grip again will be the best exercise that you can do. Not close grip, wide grip. Wide grip, because of the angle of the direction of the force, or the trajectory of the force when you move your latissimus is that way, is not up. So these are different muscles involved in the close grip. When you do wide grip, you're following the direction of the muscle movement, and also that wide grip will allow you to lift heavier weights. So these two exercises are the best for chest development and also for back width. I weigh 125 pounds and want to get to 180. Would a low carb diet be recommended? Yes. If I want to put on mass, of course, depending on what mass you're talking about. If you want to get fat, you go and eat carbs, and you're going to get fat. You're going to get not 180, maybe 250, but most of it is going to be fat. If you want muscle, that will take whatever it takes, months, years, but you will be putting muscle. Muscle doesn't grow from carbohydrates, it grows from protein and fat. You need essential amino acids and essential fatty acids. They are absolutely essential for your metabolic health, for your digestion, for your absorption, and without enough protein and healthy fats in your diet, that will never happen. You may put on weight, like there's a lot of heavy people around, but if you ask them to take their t-shirt, you will see how good they look. If you want to be like them, then just eat carbohydrates and you will be okay. But if you're talking about a lean muscle, and also you need to understand that the way that you will grow, the reason why you will grow is going to be proper workout structured in a way that will cause muscle hypertrophy. And this is not a joke, and it's not easy to do that. Very, very few people are doing it right. This is why when you get to the gym, which has 2,000-3,000 members, maybe 15-20 people look good in the gym. The rest, they don't look good, and they've been there for years. And guess why? Because they train wrongly and they eat wrongly. So it's not just diet, it's also training. Remember that. Diet and training are like twin sisters. They always go together. Yeah, there is a question there saying, currently I train upper body parts twice a week and my progress is stalled. Meanwhile, I train legs once a week and the progress and my recovery is better. Of course, I talk about that. Just watch my videos. I talk in many videos about best training program and why you need to train every muscle once a week. Why is that the best way for you? Not because I'm in love with training muscle once per week, because I studied it. I done it myself. I've done it on thousands of my clients. My son is doing it as a natural bodybuilder, and they're all progressing. So there is not my advice doesn't come from these epoxy pseudoscientific researches on nurses and college kids. My advice comes from the research done over 40 years on myself, on over 3,500 clients, from experience that I had and contact with top professional bodybuilders, professional natural bodybuilders. My son, who is natural, hundreds of clients that I have who are natural. You can see them on my website. And this is where my advice comes from. So I don't know what else to say. If that's not enough, then yeah, good luck. Yiva, thank you very much again for your support. And do you think it is important to eat bone broth, chicken soup for recovery? Well, not necessarily for recovery. You need collagen for much more important metabolic functions, and that collagen is always the best if it's natural. You can also take supplemental collagen. I do that, which is marine collagen, but I also make sure that I eat collagen in food. One of the best choices is to eat bone broth. I do that. I buy them in a packages of 6 packets, and yeah, you have a glass per day, and that's enough collagen for you. Also, collagen is found in chicken skin, and also if you eat, for example, chicken legs, if you eat everything that is there on chicken, like the skin, the meat, and all these connective tissues that are surrounding the joints, you will have plenty of collagen. And this is very important because your body needs collagen, and this is for recovery of your connective tissues, your connective tissues like ligaments, tendons, fascia, cartilages, and it's extremely important. So also vitamin C is very important when it comes down to production of collagen. So you need to take maybe twice a day 500 milligrams of vitamin C. That will help a lot. Let me see what else is there. Maya Clay, thank you very much for being the member of the website. And she's asking, I sign up for Legendary Gains and receive the general nutrition guidance. How can I get more detailed guidance on how to eat specifically for myself so I can make progress over time? Well, the programs that I give on to the members a general advice. And if you want more detailed programs, then you need to order personalized training or nutritional program from my website. It takes a bit of time to create that. It's a much more complicated thing, so I can't just provide that on a members page. And it takes more of my time to do that for you. So it's possible. I'm doing it. I'm doing it every day for dozens of people from all around the world. People are benefiting greatly. If you're interested, feel free, go to my website, find on the page shop, you will find that option and you can read what is actually required, everything you need to send me in order to create that program for you, either nutritional personalized program or personalized training program. Charles Glass advises individual to train abs 3 times per week. Correct for professionals or not correct at all for normal training over 50. I do not agree with Charles Glass. There is no reason to train abs 3 times per week. Like every other muscles, rectus abdominis is a fast twitch muscle, right? And it should be trained like every other muscle once a week properly. Why would you train that muscle 3 times per week? He probably thinks that you're going to be burning more fat if you do that, but this is not the case. It's wrong, physiological nonsense. You burn fat when you do other things correctly, when you keep your insulin sensitivity high, when you avoid carbohydrates, when you are keeping your metabolism BMR very high by training 4 or 5 times with high intensity. This is how you burn body fat. You can train abs every day. It doesn't make any sense. Serge Nubret trained every day. I don't agree with it. Doesn't matter if Serge Nubret did. I never did it. I still have 6-pack. I've seen it all my life. If whenever I want it, I can make it in 4 weeks to be ready for the show. And I'm training abs once a week. Many professionals are doing the same. So what Charles Glass does, I hope helps his clients and himself, but I do not agree with it. It is interesting that old school bodybuilding was about aesthetics, while modern day lifters care more about the number on the bar. Absolutely, I I agree with that. I can't say that more that I completely disagree with what is going on today. People are oversized, aesthetically ugly. They don't aesthetically not pleasing. Nobody would like to look like these modern bodybuilders who can hardly walk. Um, I'm with the professionals every day. These people hardly walk. When they go up the stairs, they need to stop a few minutes because they get out of breath. Um, Clearly, their blood pressure is through the roof because the body doesn't distinguish if you are 120, 150 kgs, if that is fat or muscle. Is too much for the heart. It's very, very dangerous thing. They are doing it. A lot of people are doing it. Not necessarily only professionals that you see on Olympia, but very serious bodybuilders and other pros who are not as successful, so you don't see them on Olympia. But this is why they're dying like flies. Every year, dozens of them just die all the time. Why is that? Because of that nonsense. Because they want to be as big as possible. They're pushing the boundaries, which are basically um, overstepping that human aesthetics. I mean, look at people in the past. Look at Arnold and Nubre and Albert Beckus and Roy Callender, Robbie Robinson. These people are beautiful. Absolutely, everybody wanted to look like them. Who wants to look like Mr. Olympia now, walking like a fridge, like a box? It doesn't look nice. I remember talking to Serge Nubre, and I said, "Well, people in America right now thinking Tom Platz, they're building their legs too big." He said, "This is ridiculous. Body is not created to look like that. You should be having small waist, large, wide shoulders. You need to have big legs, but not supersized legs because this looks ridiculous." He says, "I would never do that." And that's it. This is how it was. So we live in different times. And what can you do? You can either like it or not. I don't. So you feel free, or anybody can do whatever they want, but I just can't agree with it. What else is there? The question is thoughts on power bodybuilding. Start with power movement, then other exercises. I mean, I don't know what is the power movement. What is the power movement? What is power? I don't. That's another very confusing terminology in bodybuilding, which doesn't really relate to bodybuilding. Nobody called bench press or squats power movements. If you think about multi-joint exercises or basic exercises, yes, they are important. They should be done, but simply calling something power is more like a mental power or military power or power over others. But there is no such thing as a power exercise. Every exercise is important. You have 20 different exercises for chest. They are all important. You have to implement them. Multi-joint as well as isolating exercises. There are, for example, people who have dominant shoulders, right? And these people with dominant shoulders should not perform bench press or decline press as much as they should perform flies. Decline flies, incline flies, flat flies, so kind of cable crossovers, because by performing complex exercises or basic exercise, multi-joint exercises, the dominant muscle will take over. If they have dominant chest, I've had so many people who couldn't develop their chest because of their shoulders. Because dominant shoulders, if you do bench press, most of that is going to be done by your shoulders. So you need to rely on isolation exercises, and that goes across the board for every muscle group, depending on your build. And this is why I would not call any exercise power or better than another, depending on who you are, how you look, what are the dominant muscles, what you need to improve, etc., etc. Again, bodybuilding is a beautiful thing simply because it's a very complicated thing. So in order to unravel the secrets of bodybuilding, one needs to know a lot, not just to follow what others do. And this is the pleasure. This is the pleasure that knowledge offers, wisdom, etc. So let me see what else is there. Mauri Glyson, thank you very much for your support and your super sticker. And yes, you're very welcome. And I hope that regardless of age, you will manage to do it if you do everything correctly, if you follow the advice on diet and training. And I'm here if I can help anyhow. Please reach out. Thank you very much again for your help. Can't wait on your video of nitric oxide. It resonated with your paranasal analysis because it is hard for me to breathe through my nose. Although yesterday I did a long WOD with nose breathing. Very well. Well done. On Wednesday, the video that I'm going to be talking about, especially about the outdoor walking and why outdoor walking actually outperforms all these so-called cardio exercises in the gym. Outdoor walking is so much superior for many things, not just for fat loss, definitely for fat loss, but also for your metabolic health, for your well-being, oxygen absorption, production of nitric oxide, which is the most powerful vasodilator, which basically happens your artery to stretch further and allow better blood flow. And arteries, when I say arteries, they're not just the big arteries. Arteries are every single pathways through which oxygenated blood goes to the body cells. Arteries are capillaries. Arteries are everywhere, even in your brain, and every cell of your body requires oxygen. So without that perfect blood flow, healthy, elastic arteries, that is going to be very difficult to happen. And one of the best way to do that is to allow the body to produce or stimulate production of nitric oxide. One of the best ways is outdoor walking. Another way to achieve that is high volume workouts. And in the video on Wednesday, I will explain to you in detail everything about the mechanisms of production of nitric oxide and the benefits of outdoor walking. So hopefully you will be there and watch that video. Can you explain how to use calories, for example, on training days versus rest days? Rest day maintenance, a little deficit is okay. Well, I'm not the calorie guy. I leave that to others who try to be ultra scientific, and they do calculations, your body weight, your age, your fitness activities, and they come up with your perfect caloric intake. This is a witchcraft. Nothing like that exists, and nobody will ever tell you how much calories you need to eat in order to burn fat or build muscles. Why? Because you are not a robot, right? If you were a robot, if you're one of those 100,000 engines of BMW, let's say 330, then it's easy for BMW manufacturers in Stuttgart to create a software which will work perfectly for every engine on BMW 330 model, period. But you are not one of those engines, and nobody is. Nobody out of 8 billion people, not two people are the same. There is no way that anybody can calculate, first of all, your BMR, basal metabolic rate. It's impossible to calculate that. You can assume, but you will never calculate. Second, how much calories do you burn? Nobody can calculate that, because you don't just burn calories by walking, training. You also burn calories by eating, thinking, drinking, digesting, breathing, sleeping. So what is calorie? Calorie doesn't mean anything. It doesn't give you anything, any idea, any information about the quality of the nutrients that you eat. It just gives you uh, completely irrelevant information about how much energy is needed to burn that particular 1 milliliter of water for 1 degree, and that's it. So it's absolutely irrelevant. So I don't know. I don't talk calories. I never calculated calories. I was shredded over 200-300 times in my life for competitions, for exhibitions, for filming, for videos, for my books, and this and that. And I never ever calculated calories. Arnold never calculated calories. Absolute delusion. So stay away from that. Watch my videos. I have the video which is actually explaining why calories lie. And if you watch that in detail, you will abandon this ship which goes nowhere, and you'll jump on a new ship which will take you somewhere, hopefully to better body, more muscles and less body fat. Uh, Let me see what else is there. Do you always eat low carbs during your active times? Absolutely. I don't eat any carbs. I say that in so many videos. Occasionally, I may eat some carbs if I like it, like I can eat sweet potato if I eat it once a week. But I eat when I feel, when I like it, just for pleasure. Most of the time, I don't eat the carbs at all. I can't remember. Maybe I can't. Maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, I had sweet potato. Apart from that, I don't eat them at all. I train 5 times per week. I do at least 3 or 4 long walks outdoor. So I'm very active, and I'm full of energy. I'm 96, 97 kgs. I'm very lean. I don't eat carbohydrates. I don't know. I mean, why you should think that if I'm active, I should eat carbohydrates? There is absolutely no need for that, because the body creates everything which is needed: glycogen, glucose, whatever you need. It creates from protein, from ketones, from glycerol as a backbone of fatty acids, etc., etc. So this is it's just a hype. Carbs are just a hype. What do you think about artificial sweeteners in diet? Well, artificial sweeteners are not that bad as long as you don't abuse them. Uh, you need to be aware that we live in the time when sweet food is appreciated. We award children by buying them ice cream or a chocolate because it's sweet. We eat sweet because we avoid ourselves for pleasure or whatever. But once you get out of that, once you stop eating sweet things, you will require less sweeteners, artificial sweeteners. If you use them, maybe for a coffee or a tea, that's fine. It's not too much. If you use them, the best one to use is stevia. The second best is sucralose. The rest I wouldn't touch. If you use them sparingly. Enjoy your tea or your coffee sometimes without any sweetener. Then you're gonna really appreciate the taste of coffee or the tea, because the real tea, for example, is not drunk with any sweetener or any sugar. Because when you put sugar, you just get a hot lemonade, but it's nothing to do with the tea. You don't even feel what you're drinking. So what's the point of having a high quality tea or high quality coffee? In order to feel that coffee, to appreciate coffee, you need to drink it without any sweetener or any sugar. If you do that, for example, if you go to Costa Coffee or Starbucks, or you go to Cafe Nero or whatever else is there, you will see that they're all different. But if you put sugar inside, they're all the same. All of a sudden, you're drinking something sweet, maybe something like coffee, sweet drink. That's it. So try to get yourself out of that sweet world. Would you visit USA? Well, last time I was there in 2012, I did a big talk in Anaheim Conference Center in Los Angeles, and there were 5,000 people turn up. It was unbelievable, fantastic event, and I would love to, if I ever get across agent who can organize that. Yes, I will come and deliver the talk on healthy lifestyle or whatever else. There'll be a pleasure. Happy New Year, Nash. We met in Muscleworks. Why do people mention ATP and carbs that we need them before the workout? If carbs are absent, then does the body use fat for workout? No, the body doesn't use fat for workout. The body, when you do bodybuilding workout, you only burn glycogen. That glycogen is stored hours and hours before you enter the gym, possibly day before. So food or carbs that you eat before your workout will take hours and hours to be stored as glycogen. So you're just raising your insulin when the insulin should be low. So when you are exercising, your insulin should be low. Your adrenal glands should produce adrenaline, and this is what is the most important. This is what will drive your workout as a high intensity workout. If insulin is high, you're entering parasympathetic mode. This is the mode when you are not ready for action. You need sympathetic environment, meaning adrenaline high, insulin low. So this nonsense with carbs before workout, it's just, I don't know who is talking about it. These people they don't know what 2 + 2 is. You don't need glycogen that you use has been stored hours, probably day before, or maybe days before. If you done chest on Monday last week and you're doing chest tomorrow, the glycogen has been stored in your chest for the whole week, and that is the glycogen that you're going to use for your chest workout. You can eat whatever you want before your workout, which I don't advise anything. I would advise you to eat 2 hours before, high protein, medium fat diet, and that's it. And then you will go to the gym and perform 100%. Anything else you do, it will just curb your adrenaline, and your workout won't be as effective as it should be. Hi, Doc. Do you recommend how to train stubborn calves? Well, calves are stubborn anyway. They are simply stubborn because you have been using them from the day you started walking, so from the age of 1. So if you're now 40, for example, or 41, you've been using your calves every single day for 40 years. So what do you think you should do in order to make them grow? To do 4 or 5 sets with 10 reps, probably half a movement as most of the people do, they will never grow. And this is why most of the people don't have big calves, because they don't understand the physiology and anatomy of calf muscles. Calf muscles are made of two major muscles: gastrocnemius, which is the dominant big muscle, which you use when your foot goes up and down, basically when you do calf raises, and also muscle called tibialis, which is the muscle that keeps you straight. This muscle keeps the posture right. Gastrocnemius is fast twitch muscle, made of fast twitch muscle fibers, and requires high intensity reps, anywhere from 8 to 12. Okay? This is how every fast twitch muscle works. You need a lot of sets for those gastrocnemius. So standing calf raises, if you do it once a week, you need to hit them like 10 sets, 8 to 10 reps. You need to do full stretch and full contraction. You need to do everything that you never did and you never do when you're walking. So when you're walking, your calves are never fully stretched. You're walking on a surface which is like this, horizontal. So in order to stimulate them to make something different, you need to stretch your calf all the way. And then you need to go all the way up, as you don't do that when you're walking. So when you're walking, your calves are doing this. And this is actually what most of the people do performing standing calf raises. They never go all the way down. They never go all the way up. And then they come back to me and they cry about their genetics. Genetics or not, your calf can be short or can be long. This is true. But if there is a muscle there, you can make it grow. You've seen this on thousands of examples, on occasions, on professional bodybuilding. Some people have long calves. They do look better. But some people have short calves, but still big. So nobody's talking about how long, what is the attachment insertion of your calf in the joint, what's called at the bottom on the of the bone. The insertion doesn't matter. It may help that calf look bigger, but if there is muscle there, we can make it grow. But if you're not training it properly, neither your long calves or short calves, nothing will grow. So the best thing to do is to train them once a week, 10 sets, standing calf raises, 8 to 10 reps, seated calf raises, because it's a small muscle. But this muscle, this tibialis, is predominantly slow twitch. So you need 5 to 6 sets, but you need 15 to 25 reps. And that's it. There is nothing better that you can do. Everything else is just bro science. Okay, people just talk nonsense and do everything, some huge weights, but they don't understand what they're doing, because you cannot perform high reps on standing calf raises because the muscle is not going to respond, or heavy weights, low reps on seated, because seated is tibialis muscle. This is a slow twitch muscle fibers. They need high reps. 15, 20, 25, 30 reps. Obviously, because you're doing too many reps, it's not going to be too many sets. So 5 to 6 sets seated, start with standing, 10 sets, 8 to 12 reps. I don't talk much about fiber, and is a certain amount of fiber important too, or not entirely? Well, we do not need any fiber for optimal health. We humans don't have bacteria, which supposedly was once in our appendix, and the primary role for that bacteria was to digest fiber. Gorillas, for example, have a very active appendix, and that appendix requires fiber because they digest fiber there. They are digesting it because they rely on fatty acids that they produce from fiber. So this is the main reason why they need fiber for production of fatty acids, the main source of energy for gorillas. But we don't need that, because we don't need those fatty acids that we need to produce from, because we are mainly carnivores and we don't need fiber. Is absolutely exaggerated and overestimated that you need fiber for proper digestion. It's not fiber that is creating your proper digestion and healthy stool, is the bacteria in your digestive system. Now, if your bacteria in the digestive system is not in the healthy balance, because there are two types of bacteria, good ones and bad ones, and they're both important, but they need to be in certain balance. If that balance is disturbed, for example, by eating too much carbohydrates, which are fermenting in your digestive system and causing all kind of problems, feeding bad bacteria, making them multiply many, many times, and destroying that ratio between healthy and bad bacteria in the guts, your gut biome goes down. Now, if you eat processed food, the same will happen. If you eat sugars, the same will happen. But if you eat healthy, as I'm advising, you will have perfectly healthy gut biome. And that gut biome will decide how good stool are you going to have. Is it going to be regular or not? I had countless number of clients who came to me. They looked pale, they looked drained, they looked weak, they couldn't put on muscle. The main reason for that was they were all taking extra fiber because their doctors prescribed them fibers, some whatever gels or products they were, in order to have regular stool. I explained to them everything that I'm explaining to you now, and explained to them that that extra fiber simply goes and acts as a sandpaper in your small intestine and also large intestine. So what sandpaper, what am I talking about? You see, your small intestine is where most of the digestion happens. This is where amino acids are absorbed. This is where fats and glucose and everything, all the nutrients are absorbed. This is small intestine. It's a very sensitive organ, which is made of hundreds of thousands of villi. These are small surfaces of very, very fine moving elements which are actually absorbing nutrients. Now, when the fiber comes in, starts stripping off all these nutrients which are still not absorbed, is taking them out, taking them from from largest intestine and pushing them out too fast. So most of the food that you eat does not get absorbed properly. A lot of it goes out before it was absorbed because fibers have pushed them out. They increased peristaltic mechanically, not chemically. You need bacteria in right balance, your gut biome to be healthy in order to produce environment in which everything that you eat, or at least the most of it, gets properly digested and properly absorbed. In that scenario, you will give your muscles and your other organs and tissues everything they need, all amino acids, all fatty acids, glucose, whatever is needed, and the body will be happy to eliminate whatever is the byproduct in due time. Do you need fiber for that? Not at all. Food that I recommend has enough fiber: eggs, meat, all types of meat, fish. Um, Also, I do it myself. Some vegetables, salads, steamed vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, they have certain amount of fiber, but nothing is exaggerated. Everything is, I don't want to say normal, but just right. And you should not have in mind that that's the main thing. You need fiber, you need oatmeal, you need extra fiber in this, extra fiber. You're just going to be stripping your minerals, your nutrients from your digestive system and be wasting them. So you're going to drain your body out and just mechanically force unused food, because it takes time for food to get digested. I will just go pushed out literally mechanically. You don't want that. So I think you can do more research on this, but you will come hopefully to right explanation. There are people in Australia who did great videos on this subject, some experts, and if you come across them, you will see, just type and look for this fiber necessary for health and digestion, whatever. It's just easy way, shortcut for I don't know, for illness, if you want. What are your thoughts on drinking raw eggs, especially first thing in the morning as a convenient carb-free breakfast? Well, I'm not advocating drinking raw eggs. First of all, it's dangerous. They may contain different type of bacteria, so I would never do that. I never did it. First thing in the morning, I don't eat. If you listen to my advice so far in this live chat and also in my videos, you don't need to eat anything first thing in the morning. You need to drink some water. You can put some electrolytes in that water, salt. You need to put lemon juice, maybe apple cider vinegar, and have that as the first thing in the morning, because this is what your body actually needs more than any food. And then let your body tell you when you are ready to absorb nutrients. This is when your body will start producing ghrelin and you will get hungry. So humans have beautifully developed mechanisms to suggest physiologically when the body is ready to absorb food. And this is what you need to do. So don't rush in the morning, first thing in the morning. Oh, I woke from 9, I need to eat at 7. Well, you can do whatever you want, but this is not what your body wants, because your physiology doesn't care when you work. It doesn't care about your birthday, your wedding or Christmas or New Year's Eve or nothing like that. Physiology is completely washed out of any man-imposed occasions. So yes, you can go have a birthday and eat, a lot of food and a lot of ice cream and cakes and drink a lot because it's your birthday, right? Yeah, but you're going to be beating your body heavily and your liver is going to be screaming because you will work extremely hard in order to break all that down. Not just liver, your pancreas, your insulin is going to go through the roof. You're gonna make havoc in your body. So listen to your body. If you can take all of you, any one message tonight is listen to your body. Let your body talk to you, come back to you, say to you, yes, I'm ready now to eat. Please give me some food. Then you eat. And then you let go. Do something else with your life. Do whatever you do the best. Try to be the best in whatever you do. Forget about food. And then when the body comes again and says, oh, I'm hungry again, then you should eat again. And I guarantee you, if you follow my advice, you will end up eating twice or maybe 3 times a day. And that's max. Some people will end up eating once. And over the period of time, a lot of things will just get perfect. You're going to get lean, you're going to get muscular, you're going to get full of energy, and most importantly, metabolically healthy. Cardio after your training, yes or no? Well, most of you are probably aware of what I have to say about cardio. For me, there doesn't exist anything like cardio because your training is cardio. If you do it properly, you're going to be pumping blood non-stop for 45 minutes. If you do it properly, I mean, if you're not, you will just, I don't know what to say. People are doing low number of reps, resting 4 or 5 minutes between the sets, spending 2 hours, and they're calling that training. I'm out of this discussion. I don't want to discuss about that. But if you do what I'm saying to you, your workouts are going to be perfect type of training that involves heavily your cardiovascular system. So you don't need to do anything on top of that. Why would you do something extra? So what you're calling cardio is just another type of exercise, which is going to be highly destructive for your body, for your recovery, for your hormonal balance and hormonal production if you do it after your workout. So don't do it. After your workout, you need to rest. Let that growth hormone does what it needs to do. During the workout, you have produced enough cortisol, which was necessary to trigger all adrenal hormones and make that session possible and effective. After you finish your session, you need to allow your body to lower the cortisol. Once the cortisol starts coming down, growth hormone will start coming up. If you jump on a treadmill and try to kill yourself there, what are you doing? You're pushing further cortisol out, and you're killing your growth hormone. I mean, absolute nonsense. And you should not be doing that. Nobody should do that. But people do that for whatever reasons, probably completely uneducated when it comes to bodybuilding matters. So you should not do it. And if you do that regularly, and if you do your workouts and you continue doing your cardio whenever, before, after, anytime, you will end up in the state when you will be producing too much cortisol. You will enter hypercortisol state where your cortisol is constantly elevated. And that cortisol will do two things. First, it's going to eat your muscles. It's going to eat especially your leg muscles, which is the story for 90% of people who do cardio. You just look around and you will see what is happening with their legs. There is a physiological explanation for that. Second, you're going to start putting on fat, body fat around your waist. So you don't want to enter that constantly elevated state of cortisol. The worst thing that you can do is actually to do any so-called cardio after your workout. Do you recommend deadlifts, or is too dangerous? Well, I don't know why would you as a bodybuilder do deadlift? What that exercise does, what muscle do you develop by doing deadlift? You don't develop anything with deadlift. I never did it. Arnold never did it. Did it in the beginning when he was a power lifter. When he turned into bodybuilding, he never did deadlift. Serge Nubret never did it. Just look at those people. Many others, they never did it. Why would you do deadlift? What exercise is that? For what? If you're a power lifter, yes, you need to do deadlift because this is one of the movements that you have to compete in. If you're a weightlifter, you have to do it because this is the movement that you start with your exercise, with your movement in order to lift the weight up over your head, etc. But why are we in bodybuilding? What do you need to, what are you trying to develop with that movement? You're not developing legs, you're not developing back, you're not developing anything. If you want to develop your lower back, you should do hyperextensions. I only do straight legs deadlift as the second exercise for my hamstrings. And that's a completely different story. But doing deadlift as a bodybuilder is complete nonsense and is also very risky. People are obsessed with that because of their crazy popularity and effects that will achieve on Instagram or TikTok or something. I mean, who cares about how much can you deadlift? Who cares about it? Who cares about how much you can bench press or squat? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But you are grinding your body down to the bone, and you're going to end up injured one day. A lot of people they got injured in front of my eyes. I've seen stories and scenes that you don't want to know. Why? Because they are trying to lift as much as possible, deadlift, bench press, squats. Terrific injuries, rupture muscles, depression after that, loss of muscle tissue. Usually when they rupture the muscle, even if they operate, that side is never the same. They suffer. They just go down completely. Why would you do that? It's absolutely unnecessary. So my advice, if you are a bodybuilder, if you want to develop strong, healthy body for life, stop doing it. Forget about it. Again, seller 142. Thank you for your sticker, super sticker. Should I train in the morning? Should I eat before workout or not? I'm waking up at 5 and training at 6. Well, first of all, training this early is not good for you because this is not the best time for the body to enter the state of aggressive physical performance. When you wake up, you are still full of your brain is still full of melatonin. You're still not walking away properly. You need to exercise when your melatonin comes down and when your adrenaline, your body is ready they kick off. Also, when your testosterone is highest. That happens in two parts of the day. One is anywhere from 11 to 12, 11 in the morning to midday, and another period is anywhere from 5 to 7 in the evening. So these 2 times per day are the best for workouts. If you cannot train at 11 or 12, you can train at 10. I advise you to wake up, let's say, 6 or 7. You don't need to. You don't have to eat anything because you're not going to be hungry at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Nobody is. Have maybe some strong coffee or tea or whatever like, and wait, and then train on empty stomach. After your training in the morning, which should be perfectly around, I mean, I said 11, 12, but if you cannot, bring it down to 9 or 10, then wait 1 hour and eat after. You don't need any food before your workout because the moment you start lifting your dumbbell or barbells, your digestion stops. So if you eat before your workout, that food will just sit in your stomach and it will start rotting there. It's going to start fermenting if there are carbohydrates or putrefying if there are proteins. So you don't want that. You don't want your food to sit in the stomach, which is shut down. This is the biggest nonsense about eating before workout. If you eat before workout, that should be 2 hours before workout. But if you train at 9, then you should eat at 7 and you wake up at 4 or 5. You're not going to be hungry at 7. Nobody eats at 7 in the morning. So I don't know. I think you should reconsider. If you can, move your training session in the afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock. That will be the best time to exercise. Amount of visceral fat affected by cortisol or genetics. Yes, cortisol builds up especially fat around your waist and visceral fat. And this is why people who are constantly overstressed, like, here in London, for example, a lot of people who work in the city, in the finance industry, they're constantly overstressed. And when they come to me, I can see the situation, leg muscles non-existing, arms muscles non-existing, and just big midsection, usually, extended belly, which is visceral fat, which is very bad. Also, genetics, not necessarily. If you are insulin resistant, you are not insulin resistant because you're born like that. You're insulin resistant because you have done it by wrong type of diet that you have followed most of your life. So insulin resistance is not something that is genetic, unless you are type 1 diabetic, and this is different story. Please say about crunches. Is it a good thing to do? Crunches are actually, if done properly, they're the best exercise for abs. When you perform abdominal exercises correctly, they affect every single part of your abdominal. So there is no such a thing as lower abs and upper abs and middle abs. Abdominal rectus abdominis or abdominal wall is a one single muscle, like chest muscle, a major pectoralis, or clavicular major pectoralis, or biceps femoris, or biceps brachii, or they are all one muscle. So when you perform proper proper exercise in proper form, obviously, you are stimulating that muscle from the top of your rib cage all the way down to the groins. So that abdominal wall is a one muscle. Very important to understand. When you do crunches, you are using them all. Now, there are 2 exercises, the top exercises for abdominal muscles. And one is when you're lying down on the floor, you can put your legs on the bench. This is my favorite. And you lift your body as much as you can. It's not going to be high lift is going to be probably 30-degree lift, because your abdominals have very short range of motion, and you squeeze your abs on the top and then fully stretch at the bottom. This is the starting position when you fully stretch your muscle. So in non-stop fashion, do as many reps as you can, anywhere from 10 sets to 15, 20 sets, depending on what level you are. So lifting your upper body while lying down on the floor is one way of training abs. Another way of training abs is doing the same thing, but now lifting your hips up and down. So when you see people doing leg races without lifting their hips, they're not training their abdominals at all. They're just training their flexors, which are the muscles of the hip, because you can stand and you can lift your leg up. You can try that now, and you will feel that abdominal muscle doesn't move. And this is what's happening when people just lift their legs up and down. Abdominal muscles, they don't move. In order for them to move, you need to lift your hips up, either your upper body up or your hips up. It's called a reverse crunch. Reverse crunch is a very difficult exercise. Not many people can do it. Not many people can do it properly. But if you can, you should start with that one. So start and do as many sets as you can. You probably end up with 5, 6 sets. After that, you can try to do crunches lying down on the floor. Sometimes you can do the combination of both. If you do 5, 6, 7 sets each, if not, stick to one, whatever it is, maybe crunches, and then do 10, 15 sets. If you do it once a week, and that's it, that's enough. You don't need anything else. Andrew, thank you very much for your super sticker. I just saw it now. And let me answer your question. How long should I wait to change something in my diet or exercise to know I've really given it a fair chance attempt? Love the channel, sir. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I hope you're learning a lot. Well, if your training program is structured properly, if your training split is right, some people need to train 4 times a week, some people 5. When I do training programs, I obviously request a lot of information from my clients, and then I decide, is it going to be 4 or 5? So that is the number one thing. If your training split is right, if you do 4 or 5 training, as if somebody who knows, creates that for you, that's important. The second thing, I always look at my clients' proportions, and I advise that maybe legs need more attention, or chest more attention, or back more attention, and that reflects what I suggest. Obviously, reflects when I position those workouts and how I structure them in the training split. So that needs to be taken into consideration as well. Second, depending on your fitness level, there is a necessary number of exercises that you should do for every muscle, a necessary number of sets, a necessary number of reps for every set. So when everything is done correctly, that training system will last. It may last you for the rest of your life. There is nothing that you need to change there. The only thing that will change, but that will change spontaneously as you go. Nothing can be forced. The only thing that will change eventually will be slow increase in weights that you're using for all your muscles, for chest, for back, for legs, and that will happen slowly. So, but this is called overload principle. I have a video recorded. It's coming probably not next week, the week after next, in which I talk about the only overload principle that you should do, because there is a big misunderstanding about overload. People talk, but they don't know what they're talking about. So that is the only change. But when it comes down to training split, structure, number of sets, number of reps, that doesn't change. That stays. So you don't need to change. When it comes to your diet also, if it's done correctly, if you have a proper diet plan, there is something that you should follow consistently. There is not much to change there. The right diet, if you start getting bigger, putting more muscle, you will probably eat. I would advise to eat a bit more food, more protein, and a bit more fat. But if it's decided that you have 2 or 3 meals a day, or maybe 4, depending, that stays. That doesn't change. And there is no need to change something that works. And if everything that you do is properly suggested, advised, then those systems should remain for a long time. Ton Blair, thank you very much for your super sticker again. I really appreciate that. I know you are pro low carb, but what's your thought on high carb diets lately? They seem also to get great, fantastic results. Well, I wish them all the best. I don't know who is getting great results. I can talk to you according to my knowledge and my own experience, and experience of thousands of clients that I have advised. And people who are making results with eating too much carbs are not telling you the true story, especially serious and professional bodybuilders, because they are taking exogenous insulin and also other compounds, which are extremely powerful chemicals that force body to store these carbs into glycogen. It's a very risky business. In normal circumstances, if you're not taking exogenous insulin, growth hormone, IGF-1, and other compounds similar to those, most of the carbohydrates that you eat will end up in the fat. I'm talking about not just muscle growth and fat loss, but I'm also talking about longevity and metabolic health, and that will never happen with high intake of carbohydrates daily. Okay. Let me see another question, and we're gonna finish there. What is there? Okay, guys, I'm going to answer one more question. And this is, can I grow an underdeveloped muscle faster when I do less for better developed muscles? Well, let's say your legs are underdeveloped. Probably most of the people have underdeveloped legs anyway. So how would that reflect on the other muscle groups that you're training? So if you're training everything else correctly, you should stay and you should train them correctly. You should not really stop training them. Why would you stop training them? Now, if your legs are underdeveloped, you should consider a few things. First, you need to reconsider your mental attitude towards training legs. You should not say, oh, I'm doing legs on Monday. Oh, it's the most difficult. Oh, it's hard. No, you should say, I can't wait to train legs. I can't wait to feel that pump while I'm doing squats or leg press or hack squats. I can't wait to feel that stretch when I'm doing leg curls. I can't wait to get my legs pumped to the point when my skin is going to explode. Usually, the legs get underdeveloped because people don't do enough sets and enough reps, because they require higher number of sets and higher number of reps. This is one thing. The second thing is you should always take day off after your legs. So I do that. I start, although my legs are not underdeveloped, but it's the good thing to do. I do Monday usually chest, Tuesday I do legs, and on Wednesday I take day off. So always take day off. Or if you do different systems, maybe you do legs on Saturday, but then take day off on Sunday, because after you do legs, you will really need to recover. You need to take day off. When it comes to execution, you should know what you're doing. If they are underdeveloped, or your chest are underdeveloped, or your back is underdeveloped, there must be reasons for that. So you need somebody to assess you, to create proper training program, to suggest the best exercises, training split, and then you should focus on perfect form. most of the time, certain muscle groups become underdeveloped because the form is not good enough. The form is bad. For example, you do back, but you're using more your biceps than your back. Back is not going to grow. If you're training chest, but your shoulders are dominant, you do all presses, but shoulders are taking everything, your chest will not grow. Legs, you're not going all the way down. Squats are not deep enough. Hack squats are not deep enough. Leg press, they're not deep enough. You're doing 8 to 10 reps. You need to do 12 to 20 reps, depending on the body part. So you just need to correct and make sure that you do that lagging muscle group with extra motivation, with extra excitement, with extra knowledge, and with extra consistency, and things will change. If everything else is fine, you don't change, you don't train less. Just make sure that you train that muscle in the ways that I just have explained to you. Actually, this is going to be the last question that I'm going to answer. Are my books on Amazon? I used to have books on Amazon, but I sold them all on Amazon years ago. And ever since, I turned everything into eBooks. So now they are not on Amazon. They are only available on my website as eBooks. Also, there are only a few copies left on the paperbacks. So for people who want paperbacks, I have almost sold them all because they are sold now as collector's items, obviously for premium price, because there's only a few left. You can order them on my website if you prefer to have a paperback. If not, you can order ebook, which is much cheaper with the same content. So guys, thank you very much for tonight. Thank you for all these people who have contributed with their super stickers and super chats. I hope you enjoy this. You can watch again this whole live chat on my YouTube channel in the section live. Please give me your thoughts, send me your messages, comments, obviously, and if you enjoyed this video, please like the video, share the video, and also if you didn't subscribe to my channel, because that will obviously help channel to grow faster and get bigger, and also your comments are helping other people because you're sharing your experience and others share with you. So our community is very vibrant, and there are a lot of comments on all the videos. You can go and check and obviously enjoy the conversation with other members. Thank you very much for everybody who became the member of the site. And as I said, if I can help, I will just remind you that I have published 11 ebooks, which are fully loaded with detailed information about everything that you always wanted to know in bodybuilding: muscle growth, fat loss, training systems, training splits, number of sets, number of reps, training for beginners, training for naturals. The new book is coming in a week or two, which is going to be called Nutrition for Naturals. Also, there are other services that I offer, services like personalized training programs, personalized nutritional programs, online coaching, telephone consultations, and also personal training for people who live in London. So if you're interested, please visit my website and you can find all my services there. So once again, thank you very much for everyone for joining in, for all these great questions. I hope I give you good answers and you can use them. And obviously, I contributed a little bit to help you improve your muscle growth and fat loss. And I shall see you soon in another live chat. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I wish you all the best.